Bolton, former U.S. ambassador to the UN, rejoining me. Let me ask you first. Somebody tweeted me, when will Western leaders realize that diplomacy will not have an effect on ideologues like ISIS? We had Rick Grinnell on the air just moments ago, who essentially said that we have dropped the ball when it comes to diplomatic efforts in reaching out to our Arab allies, as Waleed Faris just mentioned there, to prevent this kind of force from becoming the biggest threat that we are facing right now in this world. What do we do diplomatically, if anything, to get our Arab allies to come in and help us fight this?
Well, I think the problem is that weak leadership brings weak followership. And watching the president's speech on Wednesday, I think most of the friendly Arab regimes in the region have no confidence that the United States really has a plan or a deep commitment to do what's necessary here. And I think it flows from a number of prior acts by the administration, withdrawing all American forces from Iraq in 2011, utterly failing to respond to the murder of Ambassador Chris Stevens and 3 other Americans in Benghazi almost exactly 2 years ago now, and the laxity, the slowness, the passivity of the administration's plan to date. So I don't think it's a diplomatic issue. I think it's a question of American resolve that the Arabs and others in Europe, really globally, just don't see at this point.
What do we talk about when we discuss countries like Egypt and how they could step in, Saudi Arabia? How do we get these countries to back the United States, take us seriously? And now with the UK being the latest victim, a nation now that is grieving the loss of one of their own. David Cameron right now is in an emergency meeting as we speak, coming up with a plan, perhaps a strategy. The minute he heard of a beheading of one of his citizens, he went to emergency meeting. What do you believe that will come out of that one?
Well, not much. Remember, the United Kingdom may be on the verge of disintegrating. There's a Scottish referendum on Thursday about whether Scotland will break the 300-year union with England and secede. And if that happens, I think Britain's going to be thrown into turmoil. I don't think the Cameron government can survive if the yes for independence vote prevails. So while Cameron has rushed back, and appropriately so, to try and decide on a response, the country itself is consumed with the odds that, according to public opinion polls, the Scotch referendum may be the breakup of the United Kingdom. And honestly, no matter what the attention span in the United Kingdom, they're not going to lead a successful coalition. The only country that can do that is the United States, and we have sounded a very uncertain trumpet.
What does the president need to do tomorrow morning?
He needs to say that this kind of brutality demonstrates that the United States is prepared to do whatever it takes to destroy ISIS. And if he says that and means it, which is not necessarily the same thing, then I think it's a lot easier to persuade Arab countries, European countries to join with us in a coalition. This is something, you know, to say that we won't use American ground troops says that our safety at home will depend on the performance of the Iraqi army.
Ambassador
and I just think
Bolton.
That's crazy.
Thank you very much for joining us. I'm Julie Banderas, continuing coverage of news. ISIS reportedly beheading a British